This is Moments with Fu with James Fu Torres, better known as Fu, the show that takes you around the world to share interviews with some of the most successful and relevant people on the planet, hear their stories, and get the most important business lessons they have learned on their road to success, and get exclusive advice on how to implement their success into your life and business. Moments with Fu is brought to you by the Strategic Advisor Board and your host, Fu.
Hello and welcome to Moments with Fu. I'm your host, James Fu Torres, or you can call me Fu, hence the name of the podcast. And today I have Kizzy Parks. She is the founder of GovCon Winners. I was going to say government contract, which is what it stands for. I'm just so tempted to it. But I'm going to let her tell you more about that. But first, Kizzy, how are you?
I am fabulous. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, just feeling good. I had couple great conversations today, a couple challenges too, like everything, things changing, especially in my industry. Probably there was a change in one of the publications and stuff, and now we're kind of like rolling out with different things, but it's part of it, right? Like things change, we gotta adapt, we gotta innovate, right? So it's good, still good.
Very good.
So let's kick it up with a quick introduction about yourself and your company.
Yeah, I am in this space where over $600 billion is spent every year, and most people are very unaware. I was even unaware, and that's federal government contracting. And this is a space for those who have no idea, for someone who may have a business, as well as for someone who maybe you won a contract or so. So I'm here to help coach you so that you know how to find, bid, and win government contracts consistently, because one of the most amazing things about the government is it really helps with the cash flow problem, where they pay all the time, they pay usually within 30 to 60 days, and often contracts last 5 years in duration.
It's amazing. Yeah, and that's why it's such a big opportunity, and especially if you already have so much experience on it. And one misconception that I've gotten, because I'm going to some like webinars, workshops or stuff about it, and what I've learned is that, oh, you hear government contracts, oh, you think that you have to be this huge firm to be able to get a contract for the government. Our federal government is so big, but they separate budgets specifically for small businesses. So you being a small business, it can actually give you an advantage, because they are, especially if you have something like you're a veteran, or you're something that you can connect to them, and there's a lot of opportunity. It's a lot of opportunity. When the first time that I heard about it, I was like, damn, there's like some big opportunities there. And then I met you, and it was like, even more, right? Because I get deeper into it with the conversation with you. So I'm excited to hear what you have to add for advice and tips for the audience. So on that note, let's take it there. Like, what was some advice that you have from people that want to get some government contracts and they don't know where to start?
The first thing is, it seems scary. It seems overwhelming. It seems like you're learning a completely new language. And so I want to let everyone know it's okay. This is not something where you have to be proficient. I personally think that sometimes things are set up to help keep people out. And it's way too lucrative, and it's an amazing space. You have IBM, Lockheed Martin, Amazon. They're all getting government contracts. So why can't you? There's no reason you can't. There's no reason at all. So the first place to start is just with your mindset. Just know that, yeah, there's some things you're not going to understand, but guess what? The same thing happened when they made the latest upgrade or update on Instagram. You didn't understand Reels. You didn't understand TikTok. You may still not even have a TikTok account, but you figured it out. You figured it out. And whatever the latest greatest is with our phones, with social media, we somehow figure it out. That's no different than government contracting. So you're going to be able to do it. The next thing is, you're going to have to register on SAM, like Uncle Sam, sam.gov. I promise it's really not that hard, y'all. It's all that they're looking for is to make sure you're not a scammer. They just want to make sure you have a business. And if you don't have one formed yet, this is the time to think about it, what kind of business you want to form, things of that nature. But they're just going to ask about what kind of business do you have, LLC, sole proprietor. They're going to need proof that you have said business. You're going to need a physical address. You're going to need electronic copies just to validate your business. Again, this is nothing outside the ordinary. Think about if you go to a barber, or ladies, you go get your nails done. Typically, they have a business license. It's no different. It's no different. In order to get a business license, that said provider had to show evidence that they own a business, that they're certified to do these things. Because if not, then you're going to walk out with some messed up hair and messed up nails. And the same thing applies to the government. They want to make sure like you're legit and you're not a front for something scandalous. So register there is the first place to start.
Yeah, I love how you attach the mindset part of things, because mindset is such a huge part of on everything that we do, really. And one thing that I have to say on that, to kind of add into what you were saying, is to develop the task on a very like snackable actions, right? Like very tiny. So don't think it's like, oh shit, like to-do list, get a government contract. That is not a to-do list task. You need to, like you said, first task, register in sam.gov. And then from that, break it down more. Go there to the site. What are the documents that you need? Now you make a checklist there. I need all these documents. Go one by one, get them. Okay, check, right? It's very like, how small of a task can you make to be able to do it? So that way, because what I've learned through coaching and through practice is that when I don't want to do something, and I know that I have to do it, is because the task that I put down is too big for my brain to digest. It's like, oh, it's too much, it's overwhelming, I can't digest it. So when you put that in very small tasks, then you get small wins, you get motivated, you get in the right direction, instead of like winning a government contract and that's it, that's your check, right? Just divide it on many things as possible. Do you agree with that?
I wholeheartedly agree with that, because then it makes it also less scary, because it can seem overwhelming, like, I gotta have all this information and I need to win a contract. That's like putting on your list, like, I need to find a husband, I need to find a wife, or like, I mean, not that we don't really want husbands or wives. I mean, yeah, that's awesome, but hopefully that's not on like your grocery list now, and the same thing is with government contracting. Like, you will get to that. Really understanding is super important, because there are so many companies who register, who rush to get a set aside because they heard about it on TikTok, and then they end up with nothing. And it's because there's that understanding piece that's key, is having that guide, having that coach there.
Yeah, I completely agree. So listening to this advice and tips, I can't help but thinking about the challenges in the, other than like make your tasks smaller, but is there any common friction points that people that you help usually have when they're trying to apply for a government contract?
The biggest is, well, what do I sell? That happened earlier today. One of my students, she's just kind of going through this point in her life. She has a full-time job. She doesn't want the job anymore, and she wants to be a full-time entrepreneur. And for her, government contracting is her way out. However, she's still thinking about, well, what is it that I want to sell? So when it comes to the federal government, this is how I look at it. Are you interested in being an expert or an entrepreneur? So here's some examples. The government buys practically everything, from fencing materials to drum sets to IT help desk support. So for her background is training and development. She loves it. She's, I believe, an assistant dean for a school. Well, so she has a couple options. She can go that route. She could be this expert, and sell various education training to the federal government. They buy all kinds of training, no different than any other business. And or she could go a little broader and try the entrepreneurial approach. So she met with a woman who works for the Department of Transportation and learned about different staffing services and needs, IT needs, and she learned about these other things, and she thought, well, man, maybe I want to go that route. That's more of the entrepreneurial route, because at the end of the day, the federal government, with this $600 billion that they're spending, they just need people to provide the thing. That's it. At the different bases, at the post, at the offices, the person who's picking up the phone with the IRS, the person who's making your ID card or helping you or your family if you're at a military location, they just need the people to do the thing or to provide the thing. And so if you're taking that entrepreneurial route, you can offer the variety of things. You can offer the fencing materials. You can offer the IT support. You can offer different project management services. It's really about what you want to offer, what brings you joy, what do you see yourself being able to sell, what interests you to sell, and most importantly, are you willing to sell it the way the government buys it? And that's super important, because so many people lead with the thing like, well, I have this amazing cup and it's, it's made out of recyclable materials and I just know the Army wants my cup. Listen, I'm not saying the Army doesn't want your cup, but I don't really know if they need your cup. Right?
Yeah.
And so maybe you shift from the cup, maybe you look at bureaus of prison, they need a lot of condensed milk. Interested in selling that? You don't need to have a dairy farm to do it. You find a manufacturer, distributor, and you flip the condensed milk, no different than you flip things on Amazon.
Yeah, and one thing that got me thinking based on that you said, I got this from Alex Ormosi, I think it's like 2 days ago that I saw this video. He was saying too many people focus on the product rather than the customer. If you just focus on understanding your customer, their pain points, and how to talk to them, how to really solve their problems. If your product, service is the solution, it will sell itself as long as you are clear, like you establish yourself as a clear person that understands the problem and that can solve it. You don't have to sell your thing, and that's something that for me, I'm very focused on solutions, but it's easy to kind of like, oh, like I need to learn everything about my services and stuff. And then that was a great reminder for me to focus on the customer, like what problem are you trying to solve, and talk to those people. And if they're not the right people, then that's fine. Like just look for the right people. And that's why you said that. It's like, yeah, I mean, this cup, my recyclable, whatever, like it's just good for the environment, and I get it, that's your mission and you get it. But if you got to understand your customer and how they buy, how they take decisions, why they do it, and so on and so forth.
That is so spot on. And the people and companies, because you can be a solopreneur and do this, you don't have to have employees. You don't. When I first started 15 years ago, it was this woman. That was it. It was just me doing everything. And it's about not solving their problems and anticipating. So if you're working with an agency and you start to notice something like, wow, I heard they have a lot of turnover in their ID department where they're processing background checks, maybe talk to somebody and find out, can you provide support there? If for instance, with one of our clients, they were using a lot of laptops, and they ended up basically creating like a mini warehouse because they were constantly purchasing laptops, processing them, shipping them out to employees in the field, bringing them back or swapping them out. And so then there was this need for warehouse solutions. So we were there to help them with that and to provide a solution and to provide them warehouse support. Do I have experience with that? Well, back in the day when I was in college for some like Christmas money, I worked in a warehouse. I mean, in Wisconsin, I mean, I worked in factories because I lived in the Midwest, but I mean, other than that, it's like at the end of the day, they trusted us and still trust us to provide a solution to the problem. That was their problem. Hey, we need warehouse support, not a recyclable cup or some new training. That's their problem. And so people, companies, organizations who are able to really accept that and constantly hone in on not only the customer, but get this, y'all, their missions and their visions are often on their websites. So if you just type in DHS or you type in Department of State, you're going to be able to see their mission, their vision. Sometimes they'll put their 5-year strategic plan online. So if you see something that pops out like, oh, wow, they're looking to update their websites and add new creative items. Okay, cool. If you're a creative type, that's an opportunity. Or if you notice that they need cybersecurity and that's your thing, there you go. I mean, all of this is pretty much public, of course, except for the agencies that have secret names and require clearances. But other than that, a lot of that information is there.
Yeah, there's so much information out there that the important thing that I want to point out of this is that you have to be willing to commit to something. Like do your research, find what resonates with you, like what's something that you're like, you know what, I could commit to that for a long time. And then when you see that, then just go all in, because if you get this shiny object syndrome and you're like, oh, like maybe this, and then you start researching something else, and then no, just look, there's infinite ways to make money, infinite. Just pick one, commit to it, go all in, right? And then if you have to pivot because of the market, then pivot, right? But just pick something, see the opportunity, and take advantage of it. The opportunity is gone, saturated, or the government's not buying that anymore, whatever the case may be. Now it's pivot, but you gotta be willing to commit and not be like, oh, I tried this and I tried that and I tried, like, it's just, you're not gonna get anywhere. Especially, and then another thing that I want to add is that don't stay on analysis paralysis. You're gonna learn a lot more by action that you'll learn on any book. And I'm not saying books are not wrong, they're bad or anything. Obviously, they're great. Knowledge is power, and videos and YouTube, podcasts, you name it, right? Or just talking with Kizzy probably gives you a lot of knowledge, right? But just hearing her out, it's not gonna get you anywhere if you just don't take action. So that's the last thing that I want to say. It's just don't stay in analysis paralysis. You're gonna learn a lot more by doing than by reading or consuming videos or even talking. So that's my take on this.
And it so applies, because one of the missteps that I see is this: I have to get it perfect. I need to know everything there is to know. I need to know my numbers. I need to know who I'm going to have do this work. And this middleman thing, I need to know. And what ends up occurring is they end up with just a job. They think that maybe they're an entrepreneur. And I get it, because it feels good to say it and to go on the journey, and pay legal Zoom and have your business set up and all those cool things. But until you have like a paying customer, that's not a business. And you learn the most by doing. It's building the plane as you're flying. There's so many lessons that I learned, because I don't just help people through govconwinners.com, but I have multiple government contracting companies, and I've been awarded over 50 million in government contracts. And no one would have prepared me for, I had an employee who woke up handcuffed to a hospital bed. Where is that? Where's that book? And that's serious. Thankfully I have a background in psychology. So I had a feeling, okay, this is something probably to deal with mental illness. But it's like his wife didn't know where he was. Who prepares you for these things? Who prepares you for COVID or how to process PPP or employee retention credit? These are things you're building the plane. How to update your handbook, how to even bring on employees, how to grow employees, how to keep employees, how to prevent theft within your company. Because you may think, You don't have any of that here. Yeah, you do. It doesn't matter if it's 2 or if it's 10,000 or 200,000. And these are just internal things. There's also, how do you handle a client that has a variety of requests and needs? How do you handle that? How do you handle clients who may want to date you? I mean, like, there's a lot of things that, I mean, these are serious things that come up, like clients who want to drink during the day. I mean, these are all things I've experienced, especially in government contracting, because there are government events where they have alcohol during the day. I'm now sober, I'm 9 years sobriety, but these are real things that you have to ponder and think about, because with all the books, with all the podcasts, with all the YouTube, it's only so much. It's, you have to go through it, and having someone who's been there, done it, still is bidding on contracts and helping people, that's what's needed. Otherwise, you're just going to put that on the shelf of like, I kind of tried it. And you're too good to kind of try it, because you wouldn't be listening and watching this if you weren't. You're amazing.
Something that I think it's like by Gary Vee, and a lot of people say this, and it's if you're not willing to give it your all, why even start? Right? Like, it's a waste of time. Like, if you're gonna half-ass something, might as well not do it. So that's why it's so important to have to commit to something, again, to that point, because something that I've learned, it's not necessarily about, oh, I need to live a life that is like something that is aligning perfectly with this vision that I have of making the world a better place, right? There's infinite ways to make the world a better place, same as there is infinite ways to make money. So it's not like either or. We live in a world that is an and, right? Like, I can do this, I can do this. But as long as you are very focused and you align with being able to commit, it doesn't have to be like, oh, like, I don't know, I just want to do zero waste and that's it, or whatever, right? Like, there has to be a way that you can be flexible to take advantage of the market, and to be just, if you want to live a life with purpose, a life that you really want to commit 100%, you have to commit, right? Like, you have to just pick something. So that's why I say that that's so important. Like what you say, it's just, look, pick something, give it your all, so then you don't find yourself in a position later on that you feel like, damn, I should have done more. You don't never want to be in that position, because that's just the worst. Like, when the time goes by and then you're like, damn, I could have done more, and who knows whatever it turned out, right? You don't want to do that to yourself. So
No.
that's what I want to say on that. So
Yeah, you don't want to do that to yourself at all. And this is too much of an awesome opportunity, because the government sets aside 23% of its spend for a variety of small business types: woman-owned, service disabled, veteran-owned, 8A, for hub zones, for there's a Buy Indian Act. There's all of these different opportunities out there, and they do this to help increase the competition for small businesses, because even
diversity, right? Too.
Diversity, yeah, and diversity. I mean, it just is such a great place to be in, and there's so much that they buy, and the sky's the limit. So you can, if you want to just hone in on that expert route, for instance, we have a woman, her expertise is government resumes. She knows government resumes and usajobs.gov inside and out. And that's the website you go to if you ever want a job with the government, because I believe the government's a great place to work. They have a pension. They're a great employer. So she gets paid. She has books. She's received awards. She is our go-to for government resumes and helping government employees with interviewing. That's it. If something comes up for leadership training, she doesn't want it. Diversity training, she don't want it. That's her lane. Then there are others where my buddy David, he bids on everything. He bids on the like
opportunity.
Artwork. He has everything. He bids on the artwork that you'll see in government buildings. He has a contract where he holds fish that's illegally caught, I think, in the state of Georgia. He has contracts for court reporters, interpretation, long-term housing. I mean, David he's bids on everything. He bid on kosher potato chips. I mean, he's a beast, and he bids on like 20, 25 things a month. And that's what it takes. And he has a $3 million business just with the government contracting side as
That's
a result.
amazing.
And who can't do that? Who can't do that? Who's listening to this? He's not the only one. He's just doing it. He's like, I'm doing it.
Definitely. That I love this because that's, you know, that what I keep saying this in the podcast is the best thing about this podcast is that it gives people perspective. I think that is the main thing that the people can take away from this, because when you start analyzing all this, like, because I bring most of the people that I bring here, like minimum they make 6 figures, most of them actually like 7 figures, right? Like you, and being able to have 7-figure businesses and then show you, look, I'm no different than you. I just committed to something and I went to it, and then a lot of the people that I have in here, they did it and now they're helping others like you are. So it's not only that, yes, you can do it because, you know, you're no different than me. You have the same capabilities, if not even more sometimes. You're like, who knows? But it's about also that you can have the opportunity to have someone like Kizzy that can help you to avoid the mistakes that she already did. Like, she lived so many things that now, like, you can save so much time. So it's all about time and money, right? Like, you want to go and try yourself and fail and learn, or you want to fail a little less because someone will give you the heads up on things. You're still gonna fail. Don't get it twisted. You will still fail on certain things that you still gotta learn. You still gotta go through the motions. But having someone like Kizzy that can help you out, really coach you, that is something that it's game changer. Like, you can really scale pretty fast. So on that note, I know there's gonna be people here that are gonna be like, hey, I want to contact her. So how can people find you?
Please contact me. There's several ways. One is you can go to govconwinners.com, go there, sign up for the wait list. You'll be added to our communication list. You can also check out my YouTube channel, Kizzy Parks, at Blonde Curly Hair there. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button. You can also send me an email, kparks@govconwinners.com. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. Feel free to DM me, because I truly am here to help you. I am here only because of people who helped me. I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. I had no idea. I didn't even know what a solicitation, I had no idea. And I still have mentors to this day. So it's not like, oh, I don't need a mentor anymore, I'm done. Like, no, I mean, I always have a mentor. I think it's really important that someone that you have as a mentor or a coach has a mentor and coach. And I have tons of them. I even have Grant Cardone, his wife, Elena. They're my mentors and my coaches too. In addition to my other coach, Tristan, I could go on a whole list of coaches, because it's about continuous growth. So reach out, govconwinners.com, y'all.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for making it easy. I love when people make it pretty simple, because it's very key. I get way more downloads on the audio side than views in the video side. So that's why I love, like, people to, like, make it easy. And I will obviously, like, they can listen to it and then be like, oh, links in the description, and they can still through the audio can get it. But, you know, making it simple. And I just want to say thank you for being here and adding value to my audience. I think this was very educational conversation, and you know, I'm gonna go check out your YouTube. I don't know, because I know we're connected on LinkedIn, but I don't think I have your YouTube, so I'm gonna go check that out because I love YouTube. So I want to connect there, and then, you know, tell people too, right? Like, hey, you want to go in contract, just direct them to the YouTube, and from there they'll find you. So
Yes, which is perfect. Please reach out.
Perfect. So this was a great conversation. Thanks for doing this. And I just want to say that you don't get what you want, you get what you believe. This is something that I like saying. I learned this from Mr. Johnson, which is Terrence X. Johnson, and it's very key on my mindset. And, you know, I think this is very fitting for this. Like, you wanna a government contract, you gotta think that you know, believe that you deserve it. So then that way, you want to make it easy, go to Kizzy and she gotta help you out. So thank you again. And this was Kizzy and Fu, and this is us signing off.
Thanks for listening to Moments with Fu with your host, Fu. Please leave your feedback and visit strategicadvisorboard.com to get the latest and greatest business advisement on the planet. Follow us on social media for updates, and we will see you on the next episode.